Hi, my name is Desiree Wood, and I am about to share with you a truck parking presentation that I'm giving in Atlanta, Georgia. It is from a series of truck parking conversations I've been sharing with different communities. I'm going to share my screen so that you can see my presentation, and I will narrate the slides. The presentation that I'm giving today is for the WTS conference in Atlanta, Georgia. Equity, transportation, the great intersection. And it is the last part of a group of presentations with a team that I'm working on for a guidebook on truck parking for state DOTs. So this is actually one section of a longer presentation. The title of it is called Truck Parking is an Equity Issue. I'm Desiree Wood. I'm the president and founder of Real Women in Trucking and Truckers Emergency Assistance Responders. I am a truck driver. I have driven since 2007, but currently I run these organizations. I've been an over-the-road driver. I have over 1 million safe miles. I worked on Jason's Law, the safe truck parking bill, with Hope Rivenberg shortly after the murder of her husband, Jason Rivenberg, in 2009, for which the law was named. I'm an appointed member of the TRB Freight Planning and Logistics Committee, and our members have been active on the FHWA truck parking coalition groups that came as a result of Jason's Law. Many of us today are on freight advisory committees in different states and communities. The first thing that I like people to know is that trucking is very diverse. It always has been diverse. It just has not been very inclusive. So the image of what you think truck drivers look like really isn't what they look like at all. There are many women that have been driving for years, even from the early 1900s. There is a rather large LGBTQIA community in trucking that are just now starting to organize and be visible. And we all together struggle with the same things when we're on the road. We are drivers. Since truck parking is something that affects all of us, I want to focus mostly on that, but there are many other issues that affect us, like wage theft, lease truck schemes, detention that we are not paid for, and trucking is still mostly pay by the mile. There's just a very little respect for our time and value for our time. So truck drivers, we are the supply chain. We run under federal hours of service that require us to take a sleeper break of 10 straight hours. And we need a parking space that will accommodate a vehicle that is at least 75 feet in length with the radius and turning area so that we can maneuver into it. So we often see well-intentioned truck parking that was poorly designed, that ends up leaving wasted space. Typically, most truck drivers are paid by the mile. They are not paid for their time. So when they spend time searching for truck parking, or they're at a shipper and receiver, and the load isn't ready, they have them sitting. That is not time they're compensated for. Some drivers do get detention, but rarely is that detention money actually trickled down to some meaningful amount that ends up in the driver's pocket. So they really bear the burden of inefficient warehousing, and they are often used in this just-in-time system as kind of mobile storage units. So they're arrive for this very strict appointment that was dictated by the shipper or receiver. They get there and they say, we're not ready for you. Go, go somewhere else and come back. And then we'll get to you. And this could be 4 hours, it could be 6 hours, it could be 10 hours. I've waited myself for a load for 14 hours unpaid. This is something that needs to be addressed. The wages need to be modernized. So when these shippers and receivers run you out of these hours and then you don't have any legal hours to drive, once they do load you, then they say, well, you can't park here anymore. You have to go find somewhere else. So then you have to go and kind of hobble yourself somewhere, trying not to activate your ELD or use some method to get someplace. And that's where you find unauthorized parking. So this lack of truck parking capacity makes us make decisions about stopping early so that we can find it, which means we don't get paid for a few hours every day because we're searching for truck parking. And we just see that a lot of education is lacking at the local level, that we are consumers too. When we are able to park somewhere, we do shop, we spend money, we spend probably more than most people realize because we don't get access to shopping in restaurants very often. We often have to go truck stop to truck stop, and mostly all that's there is fast food and very limited items, most of which we don't really want or need. So we want people to realize that for long haul truck drivers, they are eligible to have 1 day off of home time for every week they are on the road. And this is not guaranteed. There's oftentimes a driver's been on the road for a month, has asked for home time, and gets a load in the opposite direction. So if you know how difficult it is for you to be on a trip, airplane trip for a conference or something and be away from home for 2 or 3 days and living out of a bag, these over the road drivers, they are living in the truck. They are having to find places to take a shower, find places to go to the bathroom. These trucks do not come with bathrooms in them. So every day you're trying to find somewhere that will let you use the bathroom. So when it's time to go home, you really want to go home and you'd like to know that it's guaranteed. 3 days is hardly enough per month to be off, but struggling all of that time during that month that you're out on the road for all of these really basic needs is an unnecessary thing. The warehousing sector can do a lot better by making an area for the truck drivers. We often encounter at warehousing facilities signs that say no bathrooms for truck drivers. When we are forced to find unauthorized parking, it can turn into us being a sitting duck. These pictures are from the murder of Jason Rivenberg, the crime scene. Michael Baglin, who was the cab, as you can see, was lit on fire while he was inside. Both of these drivers' wives were pregnant at the time when they were murdered. Hope Rivenberg immediately started this movement to raise awareness of the lack of truck parking, and that's why we have Jason's Law today. This lower picture is my own truck when my trailer was hijacked one night when I parked behind a supermarket. I couldn't stage where I was going to deliver, so I parked behind a supermarket, someplace I had parked for over a year without an incident. But on this particular morning, when I came to get my truck and trailer to go deliver the load, the trailer was gone. Just this week, there are 2 videos that came out on YouTube. One is from Memphis of a whole row of trucks that were from cargo pilferage. People just went to the back of the trailers at night, cut off the seal, and took stuff out of the back. So when the driver woke up in the morning, the doors are open. That means the shipper's going to refuse the whole load because somebody's been in there and they've taken stuff out. The other one was a rest area here in Georgia where 26 trucks or truck tires were slashed. This has been happening in different states. So not only do we need safe and secure areas to park, but even the ones that exist right now, we need more enforcement, we need more security, we need more lighting, because we are targets for crime and we are sitting ducks to criminals. So here we are in Georgia right now, and I wanted to share a couple of things that I know from parking in Georgia. First of all, this entire stretch that goes from the north of Atlanta all of the way down south, we refer to as sort of a parking desert. In the downtown Atlanta area or within the 285 loop, there are some rather large truck stops like the Petro, but there's so much crime there. It is not a preferable place to park. In my opinion, sell it, sell the whole real estate and move it out of town. As a company driver, when I used to come through Atlanta, my Qualcomm system would ping me and say, you are not allowed to park within 25 miles of the 285 loop due to cargo pilferage and crime. We would have to leave. So it's not a preferable place for companies. It's not a preferable place for drivers. The rest areas, like I just mentioned, the rest areas, just the other day, had somebody go and slash truck tires. These tires are very expensive to replace, just one of them. But here it says that there's RVs all over in the truck parking area. It's poorly maintained. And there's just no enforcement. There's nobody supervising what's going on there. Over here, this Circle K, this truck stop was constructed like in the last, I want to say 10 years. And it was an area that really needed a truck stop. But then when they built it with a fuel part just blocking where you park. So it's an angled blind side parking spot, which is hard, and very few drivers are able to maneuver into such a spot anyway. But then by putting that fueling system in there on the end, you can't maneuver the front of your truck to get in there. So all those spaces in that center section are unused at night. So it made it, it was a great idea, but a poor design. And finally, a creative solution. This is Old Rudy's Barbecue. This is down in Jackson, Georgia. There's a Flying J there. There's a Love's. There's a TA, and there's a Pilot. They're all always packed. But at Old Rudy's Barbecue, he happened to have a little barbecue shack on a huge dirt lot close to the truck stops, and he let the trucks park there. And what he did over the years was, if you bought $15 of food from him, he would let you stay parked there overnight. So at about 7 o'clock, when they're getting ready to close, they come and check the receipts for all of the trucks there to see if they have a receipt for food. And if they don't, they pay the $15. But they also do something else. They come with a golf cart at 7 p.m. and they start arranging the trucks so that they use the space the most efficiently and help the drivers get as close as they can to the next one, but make it so everybody can get out in the morning. What they've done there is, with the money that they've made from the truck parking, is improve this old dirt lot so that it now has an air conditioning dining area for the truck drivers and bathrooms. So that is a big deal. When I'm coming around in this area, I always try to park at Rudy's. So solutions behind the truck stop, we just want people to know that revenue generation from services. Think about solutions beyond the truck stop. Truck drivers are not reimbursed for paid truck parking. Some are, most are not. The drivers that are the most affected by truck parking inefficiencies are drivers that have less than 1 year of experience. And they are not making enough money to be paying $15, $20, $25 a night, $40, $50 in some areas to pay for parking. So they do need to eat though. So having somewhere where they have access to a restaurant or other services, multi-purpose parking improves the quality for all. On the West Coast, there is a place out in Baker, California, where they put in EV charging on an old gas station property that had a big dirt lot where truckers had parked for years and years. But because the Teslas are parking there now and they're solar covered Tesla charger, now they have nicer bathrooms. They've cleaned up the place. They put in a couple of fast food places that they didn't before. So there's all kinds of different ideas, including permit parking in industrial zones. This could be something that's annual, or it could be during certain hours that commercial motor vehicles only are allowed to park in these zones. This is important because as soon as you start allowing the trucks, the RVs are going to come and start parking there and taking up all the space. So it does have to be managed, and law enforcement has to be involved in it. So these are some of the things that truck drivers need while they're living on the road. They need to do their laundry. They need to take showers. They need mail services. They get pedicures. They need to go to the barber. Many ride with dogs. They need, this is a do-it-yourself dog wash that's at a truck stop in Portland. They go to the gym. Excuse me. And I've actually seen a couple of truck stops that have a bowling alley, access to grocery stores, things of that nature. So you can be very creative. So revenue generation from not paid parking, but from services. Truck drivers are consumers too. They will spend $200 or $300 when they have access to places that have things that they need. So this video, like some of the others that I made that give you more information, are available on our YouTube channel, the Women Truckers Network. And if you would like to have more information, you can contact us and follow our social media so that you can get more information about what we've talked about here. So thank you very much for watching this presentation. And bye.